Commander Velthos stood before the communication screen in his office. His hands trembled. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly. He had written reports before, hundreds of them. Reports about new asteroids and empty planets and boring regions of space. But this report was different. This report would change everything. The Galactic Council was waiting. 12 representatives from 12 different species. The most powerful beings in the known universe. They controlled trade routes and military forces and the fate of trillions of lives. And Velthos was about to tell them something they were not ready to hear. "Commander Velthos," said Councilor Mirren of the Zentari. Her voice was cold and formal. "You requested an emergency session. This is highly unusual. Please explain." Velthos took a deep breath. "Councilors, I am contacting you from the edge of the Coral Nebula. My survey ship has made contact with a previously unknown species." The councilors shifted in their seats. New species were rare. The galaxy had been explored for millions of years. Most intelligent life had been found and catalogued long ago. "What species?" asked Councilor Torvak of the Kelani. "Where do they come from?" "They call themselves humans. They come from a planet called Earth, located in a small system in the outer spiralon. They are unique." Velthos activated his data transmission. Files began flowing to the council. Maps, images, biological data, historical records. Everything he had gathered from the Brave Stars database. "As you can see," Velthos continued, "Earth is classified as a Class 3 death world. The gravity is nearly triple galactic standard. The atmosphere contains toxic levels of oxygen. The temperature varies across a range that would kill most known species. And the planet itself is constantly trying to destroy its inhabitants through earthquakes, storms, and other natural disasters." The councilors reviewed the data. Their expressions changed from curiosity to disbelief to fear. Councilor Sarath of the Mirani, a species known for their delicate bodies, actually stepped back from her screen. "This must be wrong," she said. "No organic life could survive such conditions." "I thought the same," Velthos replied. "Until I met them." He shared the recordings from the boarding team. The councilors watched as Lieutenant Orville and his team struggled to walk in human gravity. They saw the humans moving easily through conditions that nearly killed trained Volani officers. They heard the casual conversations about earthquakes and predators and wars. Councilor Torvak was the first to speak after the recordings ended. His voice was quiet. "These beings, they live in this environment naturally?" "Not only live," Velthos said. "They thrive. They built ships to match their home environment. The vessel we encountered, the Brave Star, is essentially a piece of Earth flying through space. And the crew does not even realize how extraordinary this is. To them, everything is normal." The council chamber fell silent. Each representative was processing what they had seen. Each was realizing what it meant. Councilor Mirren broke the silence. "What is their military capability?" "Currently limited. They have only recently achieved space travel. Their technology is primitive by galactic standards. But Councilor, I must warn you against seeing this as weakness." Velthos pulled up the human history files. The wars, the weapons, the nuclear missiles that could destroy cities, the biological agents that could kill millions, the chemical weapons that cause suffering beyond imagination. Humans developed these weapons to fight each other, he explained, on a single planet, with limited resources. In just a few thousand years, they went from throwing rocks to splitting atoms. They are the most aggressive innovators I have ever encountered. If they perceive a threat, they will find a way to counter it. They always have. Councilor Dremen of the peaceful Yulari raised his hands in worry. Then they are a danger. We should isolate them, contain them before they spread. With respect, Counselor, that would be a mistake. Valthos changed the display. Now it showed different images. Yuna the doctor, caring for the sick Valani team. Taiho the engineer, proudly showing his work. Captain Sujin, welcoming strangers with warmth and kindness. The humans I met were not hostile. They were curious, friendly, eager to learn and share. They have a capacity for violence, yes, but they also have a capacity for compassion that is equally strong. They helped my team when we were suffering. They shared their knowledge freely. They treated us as friends. You are asking us to trust them? Counselor Mirren asked sharply. I am asking you to give them a chance. Yes, they are dangerous. Any species that survives a death world must be. But they are also capable of great good. Their history shows both. They have the choice between darkness and light, and more often than not, they choose light. Counselor Torvak looked thoughtful. You said they were explorers. What are they looking for? Everything, Valthos answered. Knowledge, understanding, connection. They thought they were alone in the universe. They searched for centuries, hoping to find other intelligent life. And now they have found us. The question is, what will we be to them? Friends or enemies? The counselors discussed among themselves. Their whispers filled the communication channel. Valthos waited. He had done everything he could. Now the decision was theirs. Finally, Counselor Mirren spoke for the council. Commander Valthos, your report is deeply troubling. The existence of a Class 3 Death World species changes many assumptions we have made about the galaxy. We will need time to analyze your data and consider our response. Of course, Counselor. In the meantime, we authorize you to continue diplomatic contact with the humans. Learn more about them, their culture, their goals, their intentions, but proceed carefully. Do not make promises the Council cannot keep, and do not provoke them. Valthos nodded. Understood. One more thing, Commander. Your assessment of these humans. Is it optimistic? Valthos thought about the question. He thought about everything he had seen and learned. The crushing gravity, the toxic air, the wars and disasters and constant death. And then he thought about Captain Sujin's smile, about Taiho's pride in his work, about Yuna's gentle care for strangers. Yes, Counselor, it is optimistic, because I believe that any species that could survive what they have survived and still choose to be kind, that species has earned optimism. The council session ended. The screen went dark. Valthos sat alone in his office, exhausted but satisfied. He had done his duty. He had told the truth. Whatever happened next was beyond his control. His communication device buzzed. A message from the Brave Star. Captain Sujin's voice, friendly and warm. Commander Valthos, thank you for your patience with us today. We know our ship is not comfortable for your species. We are working on modifications to make future visits easier. Also, we would like to invite you and your crew to dinner. We have learned to cook some foods that should be safe for Valani biology. Nothing too spicy, we promise. Valthos smiled. Nothing too spicy. As if spices were the only danger on that ship. As if gravity and oxygen and radiation were minor details. The humans genuinely wanted to help. They genuinely wanted to be friends. He wrote his reply. Captain Sujin, my crew and I would be honored to join you for dinner. Please send us the details, and we will prepare accordingly. Also, I want you to know that I have reported your species to the Galactic Council. They are interested in learning more about Earth and humanity. I believe this is the beginning of a long and important relationship between our peoples. The reply came quickly. Commander, that is wonderful news. We have waited so long to meet others like you. We have so many questions. So much to share. This is a great day for humanity. For Earth, for all of us. Velthos read the message twice. Such simple joy. Such honest excitement. The humans had faced extinction-level events repeatedly. They had survived everything their world threw at them. And here they were, happy just to have new friends. Maybe that was the real lesson. Maybe that was what made humans special. Not their strength or their endurance or their terrifying biology, but their ability to hope, to believe that tomorrow could be better than today, to reach out to strangers across the darkness of space and say, "Hello, let us be friends." The galaxy was about to change. The humans were coming. And against all logic, Commander Velthos found that he was looking forward to it. He stood up from his desk and walked to the bridge. His crew looked at him expectantly. They had been waiting to hear what the council said. "We have new orders," Velthos announced. "We are to continue contact with the humans. Learn everything we can. And tonight we are having dinner on the Brave Star." Officer Korath looked worried. "Sir, their environment." "I know. We will wear our suits. We will take breaks when needed. But we will go. Because these humans have given us something rare. Something valuable. They have given us hope." The crew exchanged confused glances. But they trusted their commander. They began preparations for the visit. And outside, in the darkness of space, the Brave Star waited. Full of humans who had survived a death world. Full of beings who should not exist but did. Full of hope for a future where Earth was not alone anymore. The story of humanity and the galaxy was just beginning. And it would be a story of struggle and wonder and impossible survival. Just like humans had always known. Just like they always would. Commander Velthos sat in his private office aboard the Wandering Light. His 4 eyes stared at the screen in front of him. The humans had shared their database freely. They gave everything. Maps of their solar system. History of their planet. Biology of their species. They hid nothing. At first. Velthos thought this was a sign of trust. Now he understood it differently. The humans shared everything because they did not think it was special. They did not realize how extraordinary they were. To them, their history was just history. Their biology was just biology. They could not see themselves as others saw them. Velthos began reading. And with each page, his horror grew. Earth was classified by galactic standards as a Class 3 death world. This was the highest danger rating possible. Class I worlds were harsh but survivable. Class 2 worlds could kill you if you made mistakes. Class 3 worlds would kill you just for existing there. The information about Earth filled his screen. Gravity, 1.0 Earth standard, which equaled 3.2 galactic standard. This meant that humans evolved under crushing pressure that would cripple most species. Their muscles were dense. Their bones were thick. They were built like living tanks. Atmosphere, 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 1% other gases. The oxygen level was toxic to most galactic species. It caused burning in the lungs, confusion in the mind, death within hours. But humans breathed it every day. They needed it to survive. Without enough oxygen, their brains stopped working. Temperature, variable. Earth's temperature ranged from -89 degrees to +57 degrees, depending on location and season. No single species in the galactic records could survive such extremes, but humans lived in all of them. They wore clothes and built shelters and adapted to everything. Water. Earth was covered in water, but it was poison. Salt water that could not be drunk. Fresh water that carried diseases. Water that fell from the sky in storms. Water that rose from the ground in floods. Yet humans could not live without it. Their bodies were mostly made of water. They drank it, bathed in it, played in it. Velthos moved to the history section. This was where he learned the truth about human nature. Humans had existed for only 200,000 years. This was nothing in galactic terms. The Volani had been civilized for 10 million years. But in their short time, humans had achieved more than seemed possible. They started as simple hunters, weak and slow compared to the predators around them. They had no claws, no fangs, no armor, no poison. By all logic, they should have gone extinct. But they did not. They survived. How? The database explained it simply. Humans were persistent predators. They did not need to be fast because they could run forever. They did not need to be strong because they could outlast anything. Their prey would run away and the humans would follow, walk, jog, for hours, for days, until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Then the humans would catch up and kill it. This was called persistence hunting, the ability to keep going when everything else stopped. It was not flashy or impressive. It was slow and steady and absolutely terrifying, because it meant humans never gave up, never. No matter how hard things got, no matter how long it took, they would keep coming. Velthos thought about the Brave Star, a ship that had flown through radiation storms, that had traveled for years through empty space, that had never stopped, never turned back, never surrendered. The persistence of the hunters was still in their blood. The history continued. Humans discovered fire. They learned to cook food, which let them eat more things. They made tools from stone and wood and bone. They built villages, then cities, then nations. And then they started fighting. Human history was written in blood. Wars over territory. Wars over resources. Wars over religion. Wars over ideas. Millions died in conflicts that lasted for centuries. The database showed images from these wars. Metal weapons that cut through bodies. Explosives that destroyed whole cities. Chemicals that burned skin and melted lungs. Velthos felt sick. How could any species be so violent? How could they do such terrible things to their own kind? But then he read further. After each war, humans rebuilt. After each destruction, they created something new. After each tragedy, they learned and grew. The wars became less frequent. The weapons became less savage. The ideas became more peaceful. The most recent entries showed a different picture. Humans working together, sharing resources, protecting their planet. They had not abandoned their violent nature. They had controlled it, channeled it, used it for better purposes. This was perhaps the most frightening thing of all. Humans knew what they were capable of. They knew the darkness inside themselves. And they chose to be good anyway. That kind of self-control required a strength that Velthos could not imagine. He moved to the biology section. The details were clinical but horrifying. Human skin was thin and soft. It offered almost no protection. Yet beneath the skin were muscles that could lift objects many times their body weight. Human bones were light but incredibly strong. They could break and then heal themselves, often stronger than before. Humans had 2 eyes that could see in limited color ranges. But their brains could process visual information with incredible speed. They could track fast-moving objects. They could judge distances accurately. They could see patterns in chaos. Their hearing was modest. Their sense of smell was weak. But they compensated with intelligence, with tools, with technology. What nature did not give them, they made for themselves. The immune system section made Velthos want to scream. Human bodies were constantly at war. Bacteria lived in their stomachs, helping them digest food. Viruses attacked them regularly, and their immune systems learned to fight back. They could survive diseases that would kill entire Volani colonies. And when their immune systems failed, humans invented medicine. They created vaccines that trained their bodies to fight diseases. They made antibiotics that killed harmful bacteria. They developed surgery to cut out problems and fix damaged parts. They refused to accept death as an answer. Velthos found a section about human endurance. The records showed what humans could survive: extreme heat, extreme cold, starvation for weeks, dehydration for days, injuries that would kill any other species, blood loss, broken bones, missing limbs. One entry caught his attention. It described a human who had cut off his own arm to escape a trapped position. He then walked for miles to find help. He survived and lived a normal life afterward with an artificial arm. Cut off his own arm and walked away. Velthos stared at the screen for a long time. What kind of willpower was this? What kind of determination? The Villani would have died from shock, from pain, from despair. But this human refused to give up. The section about human emotions was equally disturbing. Humans felt everything intensely: joy and sadness, love and hate, hope and fear. These emotions drove them to incredible achievements and terrible mistakes. They were passionate in ways that the calm Villani could never understand. But there was one emotion that stood out: hope. Humans had an endless capacity for hope, even in the worst situations. Even when all seemed lost, they believed things could get better. They believed they could make things better. And often, they did. Velthos closed his eyes and thought about everything he had learned. The humans on the Brave Star were not soldiers. They were not warriors. They were explorers, scientists, engineers, ordinary people by human standards. But by galactic standards, they were monsters. Every human was a survivor of a death world. Every human carried millions of years of evolution for persistence and endurance. Every human had the potential for incredible violence and incredible kindness. Every human was a miracle of biological engineering, built to withstand conditions that would destroy almost any other life form. And they had no idea that Captain Sujin and her crew thought they were normal. They thought Earth was just another planet. They did not understand that they were the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever encountered. What would happen when more humans came? When they spread across the stars? When they built colonies and cities on other worlds? They would bring their environments with them. Their high gravity, their toxic air, their deadly water. They would change everything they touched. And if someone threatened them? Velthos remembered the wars in human history, the weapons, the strategies, the absolute refusal to surrender. Humans had defeated everything their planet threw at them. They had defeated each other. What chance would any alien species have? Velthos opened a new file on his computer. He began writing his report. Every word was careful. Every sentence was important. The Galactic Council needed to know. They needed to prepare. They needed to understand that the universe had changed. A new species had entered the galactic stage. A species from a death world. A species that should not exist, but did. A species that was friendly and kind and absolutely terrifying. The humans were coming, and the galaxy would never be the same. Velthos wrote until his hands ached. He wrote until his eyes burned. He wrote everything he had learned and everything he feared, because the future depended on the galaxy understanding one simple truth. Humans were not to be feared for what they might do. Humans were to be respected for what they already were. Survivors, builders, dreamers. And if the galaxy was smart, it would make them friends rather than enemies. Because there was no winning against a species that never gave up. Captain Sujin began to speak, and Orville listened. Every word was a new horror. Every sentence revealed another impossible truth about the beings called humans. Earth is the third planet from our sun, Sujin explained. It is covered mostly with water. 70% of the surface is ocean. The rest is land, divided into different regions. Some are hot. Some are cold. Some have no water at all. Your species lives in all these regions? Orville asked. Yes, humans live everywhere on Earth, in frozen wastelands where water turns to ice. in burning deserts where nothing grows, in thick forests full of dangerous animals. We adapt. We survive. Orville thought about his own world. The Vellani homeworld had one climate, one temperature, one type of environment. They did not need to adapt because everything was the same. But Earth had everything, every possible danger. And humans lived in all of it. Minji brought drinks for the visitors. Small cups of clear liquid. Water, she said. Just water. Orville took a sip and nearly dropped the cup. The water was warm. Almost hot. Is something wrong? Minji asked with concern. The water, Orville said. It is warm. Minji looked confused. Is it? I'm sorry. I can get you colder water if you want. We keep it warm because cold drinks can hurt our stomachs sometimes. Hurt their stomachs. Warm water that would burn Vellani throats was comfortable for humans. Cold water that Vellani preferred could hurt them. Everything was backward. Everything was opposite. Tejo sat down near Drenna. The young female Vellani looked pale and weak. The conditions were hitting her hard. Tejo noticed and frowned. You do not look well, he said. Should I get medical help? Medical help? Drenna repeated weakly. You have doctors? Of course. Yuna is our ship doctor. She is very good. She can help you feel better. A few minutes later, Yuna arrived. She was small for a human, with kind eyes and gentle hands. She carried a bag of medical tools. When she saw the Vellani team, she immediately started working. Oh, you poor things, she said softly. The environment is too hard for you, yes? Let me see what I can do. She checked their vital signs using strange machines. She gave them small pills that she said would help with the pressure. She adjusted their suits to work better. Her movements were quick and skilled. You are a good doctor, Orville said. Yuna smiled sadly. I have to be. Humans get sick a lot. Our bodies are always fighting something. Viruses, bacteria, parasites, cancer. Our immune systems work hard every day. If we do not have good doctors, we die. Always fighting. Always struggling. Even their own bodies were battlegrounds. Orville began to see that humans were not just survivors of their environment. They were survivors of everything. Their world attacked them. Their food attacked them. Even their own cells attacked them. And still, they lived. Woojin, the large male who had carried Phoenix, was eating something. It looked like a piece of cooked meat on a stick. The smell was strong and strange. Phoenix watched him with wide eyes. What is that? Phoenix asked. This? It is chicken. A bird from Earth. We cook them and eat them. Do you want to try? Phoenix shook his head quickly. You eat other creatures? Woojin shrugged. Of course. Humans eat many things. Animals, plants, fish, insects sometimes. We need protein to stay strong. Our bodies require many different nutrients. Predators. Humans were predators. They hunted and killed and ate other living things. They had the same instincts as the dangerous beast that Vellani feared. But they looked so friendly, so harmless. It was terrifying. Captain Sujin continued her story about Earth. She talked about the oceans, full of creatures that could swallow ships. She talked about the forests, where predators hid behind every tree. She talked about the sky, which sometimes threw lightning and fire at the ground. And the natural disasters, she added casually. Earthquakes shake the ground. Volcanoes explode and cover everything in ash. Hurricanes spin across the ocean and destroy whole cities. Tsunamis bring walls of water that wash away everything. How do you survive such things? Orville asked. Sujin smiled. We rebuild. Humans always rebuild. A disaster comes, and we fall down. Then we stand up again. We fix what is broken. We make it stronger. We prepare for the next time. We have been doing this for thousands of years. Thousands of years of disasters. Thousands of years of death and destruction and starting over. Orval could not imagine such a history. His own species had peaceful records going back millions of years. No disasters. No extinctions. Just calm, steady progress. But look at the results. The Villani were weak. They could barely survive outside their perfect conditions. The humans were strong. They could survive anything. Which species was really more advanced? Taiho started showing Drenna around the engineering section. He was proud of his work. The engines of the Brave Star were powerful and efficient. They had to be to move such a heavy ship through space. We built everything ourselves, Taiho explained. Humans started with nothing. No help from other species. We learned science and engineering on our own. We made our first ships. We reached our moon. Then Mars. Then the outer planets. And finally, the stars. You had no help? Drenna asked weakly. No one taught you? No, we were alone. For a long time, we thought we might be the only intelligent life in the universe. We hoped to find others. We sent messages into space. We searched for signals. And now, finally, we have found you. Taiho's smile was pure joy. He was happy to meet aliens. Genuinely happy. He did not see the Villani as threats or enemies. He saw them as new friends. New possibilities. After all his species had suffered, after all the dangers of Earth, he still had hope and kindness. Orval felt something strange. Respect. Despite his fear, he respected these humans. They were terrifying, yes, but they were also brave and good. In another part of the ship, Officer Phoenix was talking with a young human named Junho. Junho was interested in everything about the Villani. He asked questions about their world, their ships, their culture. His curiosity was endless. Your planet sounds beautiful, Junho said. Calm, peaceful, no storms, no predators. It must be nice. It is all we know, Phoenix replied. We never had to fight to survive. Junho nodded thoughtfully. That sounds wonderful. On Earth, we fight every day. Against nature. Against disease. Sometimes against each other. Peace is hard for us. But we keep trying. Against each other. Orval had read about this in the ship's database. Human history was full of wars. Terrible wars where millions died. They killed their own kind over land, resources, ideas. It was barbaric. But it was also how they learned to be strong. Do you still have wars? Orval asked Captain Sujin. Her face became serious. Not like before. We learned. Slowly, painfully, we learned that fighting each other was wrong. Now we work together. Earth is united. One planet. One people. It took us a long time and much suffering, but we finally understand. Even in their worst behavior, humans found a way to grow. They made terrible mistakes and then fixed them. They fell into darkness and then climbed back to light. Their entire history was a story of struggle and improvement. Yuna came back to check on the Villani team. She looked worried. Their bodies are very stressed, she told Sujin quietly. The gravity and atmosphere are hurting them. They should return to their ship soon. Sujin nodded. Of course. We do not want to harm our new friends. She turned to Orval. Lieutenant, perhaps you should go back to your ship. You can rest there. We can continue our talks through communication screens. Orval wanted to protest. There was so much more to learn. But his body was failing. His 4 eyes were blurry. His 2 hearts beat unevenly. He needed to leave. Thank you for your hospitality, he said with effort. You have been very kind. Sujin helped him stand. Her strength was shocking. She lifted him like he weighed nothing. Like gravity meant nothing to her. "We are happy to meet you," she said warmly. "We have waited so long to find other life. Other friends. Please, come back when you are stronger. We have so much to share." The humans helped the Volani team back through the tunnel. They carried them gently, carefully. They spoke soft words of encouragement. They were worried about the aliens who came to visit them. As Orville stepped back into the wandering light, he felt the normal gravity return. The cool, dry air filled his lungs. His body relaxed. He was safe. He was home, but he could not forget what he had seen, what he had learned. The humans were not monsters. They were not evil. They were just different. They came from a world of constant death, and it made them into something incredible. "Commander Velthus must know," Orval said to his team. "Everyone must know. The humans are coming into the galaxy, and the galaxy is not ready for them." Phoenix looked back at the brave star through the airlock window. Inside, the humans waved goodbye with their strange five-fingered hands. "They seem so nice," Phoenix said quietly. "How can they be so dangerous?" Orval shook his head slowly. "That is exactly why they are dangerous. They do not know what they are. They think they are normal. They think their world is normal, and they will bring that world with them wherever they go." The airlock closed. The two ships separated, and Orval went to make his report, knowing that the galaxy would never be the same. Commander Veltos sat in his chair on the bridge of the survey ship, wandering light. His four eyes watched the darkness of space through the large window in front of him. The stars were quiet tonight. The Coral Nebula glowed purple and pink in the distance, like a painting made of gas and light. Velthos was tired. His species, the Volani, needed rest every 12 hours. He had been awake for 15. The survey mission was boring. They had been flying through empty space for 6 standard weeks. They found nothing. No planets. No ships. No life. Just endless black emptiness. His crew moved slowly around the bridge. There were 12 of them, all Volani like him. Their blue skin looked pale under the ship's white lights. Their thin bodies bent over their stations. Nobody spoke. There was nothing to say. Then the signal came. Officer Korath was the first to notice it. He was young, only 30 cycles old. His job was to watch the sensors. Most days, the sensors showed nothing. But today, something appeared on his screen. A small blip. A tiny dot of light. "Commander," Korath said. His voice was soft with surprise. "I am detecting something." Velthos turned his head slowly. "What kind of something?" "A ship, sir." "I think it is a ship." The words made everyone stop. A ship? Out here? The Coral Nebula region was empty. No trade routes passed through it. No colonies were nearby. The closest inhabited planet was 40 light years away. Velthos stood up from his chair. His long legs carried him across the bridge to Korath's station. He looked at the screen. Yes, there it was. A small signal. Weak but steady. "Can you identify it?" Velthos asked. Korath's thin fingers moved over the controls. Data appeared on the screen. Numbers and symbols that meant nothing to most people. But Korath understood them. His four eyes went wide. "Sir, the computer cannot identify it. The ship design is not in our database." This was strange. The Galactic Survey Corps had records of every known species, every ship design, every engine type. If the computer could not identify this vessel, it meant one of two things. Either the ship was very old, from a civilization that died long ago, or the ship belonged to someone new, someone the galaxy had never met. Velthos felt his two hearts beat faster. This was why he joined the Survey Corps, not to count asteroids or map empty space, but to find something new, something unknown. "Set a course," he ordered. "Take us closer." The wandering light changed direction. Its engines hummed as it moved toward the signal. The crew became more alert. Eyes that were tired now shone with curiosity. Hands that were slow now moved quickly. It took 4 hours to reach the unknown ship. As they got closer, the sensors gathered more information. And the information was disturbing. "Sir," said Officer Malin, who watched the environmental scanners, "I am detecting high levels of radiation around that vessel. The levels are dangerous. Any normal ship would be destroyed." Velthos frowned. "Radiation? In open space? That only happened near dying stars or after weapons fire. But there was no star nearby, and there was no sign of battle. What else?" he asked. Malin's voice shook a little. "The ship's hull, sir. It is damaged. Burn marks. Impact craters. It looks like the ship flew through a radiation storm. Maybe more than one. No ship could survive a radiation storm. The energy would tear through shields and melt metal. What metal? The crew would die in minutes. Yet this ship was still here, still sending a signal, still intact." The wandering light slowed down as it approached. Now they could see the unknown vessel through the window. It was large, bigger than the wandering light. Its shape was strange, blocky and heavy, not smooth and curved like Vellani ships. The hull was gray and covered with marks, scars from battles with the universe itself. "That ship has been through much," Korith whispered. Velthos agreed. The vessel looked like it had traveled through hell and survived. "But how? And who built it?" "Scan for life signs," Velthos ordered. The crew worked quickly. Seconds passed. Then Malin spoke again, and her voice was full of shock. "Commander, there are life signs aboard. Multiple life signs. The crew is alive." "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. No organic being could survive the radiation levels around that ship. Even the Vellani, who were known for their strong bodies, would die within hours. Yet something was living on that vessel. Something was breathing and moving and existing in conditions that should kill any known species. What kind of life signs?" Velthos demanded. "What species?" Malin checked her readings 3 times before answering. "Unknown, sir. The biology does not match any species in our database. But the readings are clear. There are at least 20 living beings on that ship." The bridge fell silent. 20 crew members. 20 beings of an unknown species. Flying through space in a ship that should not exist. In conditions that should kill them. Velthos walked back to his chair and sat down slowly. His mind was racing. The Galactic Survey Corps had protocols for first contact with new species. He had studied them many times. But the protocols assumed certain things. They assumed the new species would be similar to known species. They assumed their ships would follow basic design rules. They assumed their environments would be survivable. This situation followed none of those assumptions. "Try to contact them," Velthos said. "All frequencies. All languages in our database." Officer Talvin, who handled communications, began sending messages. Greetings in 100 different languages. Mathematical sequences that any intelligent species should recognize. Simple signals that said, "We are here," and "We mean no harm." Minutes passed. There was no response. "Keep trying," Velthos ordered. More minutes. More silence. Then, suddenly, a voice came through the speakers. It spoke in a language the computer did not recognize. The sounds were harsh and quick, different from the smooth, flowing speech of the Vellani. The computer worked to translate. It took several seconds. Then words appeared on the screen. Unknown vessel. This is the Earth ship Brave Star. Please identify yourself. We are peaceful explorers. Repeat. We are peaceful. Earth. The word meant nothing to Volthos. He had never heard of a planet called Earth. He had never heard of any species calling themselves by such a name. This is Commander Veltos of the Galactic Survey Corps' vessel Wandering Light, he replied. We detected your signal and came to investigate. We too are peaceful. May we approach? There was a pause. Then the voice came again. This time, it sounded almost happy. Wandering Light, you are welcome to approach. It has been a long time since we met anyone out here. Please, come closer. We would love to meet you. The words were friendly. The tone was warm. But Velthos felt a strange feeling in his stomach. Something was wrong. Something did not fit. A ship that survived radiation storms. A crew that lived in deadly conditions. A species not in any database. He did not know it yet. But Commander Velthos was about to learn why the galaxy should fear a planet called Earth, and why the beings called humans were the most terrifying species in the universe. Take us in, he ordered quietly. But keep shields ready. I want to know everything about that ship before we dock. The Wandering Light moved forward slowly, toward the unknown, toward the impossible, toward humanity. The two ships floated side by side in the darkness. The Wandering Light looked elegant and smooth, like a silver fish swimming through space. The Brave Star looked like a survivor, like something that had been beaten and burned but refused to die. Lieutenant Orval stood in the airlock with his boarding team. There were 5 of them in total. All Valani, all trained for first contact situations. They wore their best environmental suits. The suits could protect them from cold, heat, radiation, and poison. Or so they believed. Remember your training, Orval said to his team. We do not know what we will find. Stay calm, stay alert, and do not make any sudden movements. His team nodded. Officer Phoenix, the youngest, looked nervous. His blue hands were shaking slightly. Orval understood. Meeting a new species was exciting, but it was also scary. Anything could happen. The airlock door opened with a soft hiss. Beyond it was a connecting tunnel that led to the Brave Star. The tunnel was temporary, created by both ships to allow safe passage. Orval stepped in first. His suit sensors immediately started beeping. Warnings appeared on his helmet display. Radiation levels elevated. Temperature high. Atmospheric pressure dangerous. He ignored the warnings and kept walking. The tunnel ended at the Brave Star's airlock. The door was thick and heavy, made of some kind of dark metal. It looked strong enough to stop a missile. Why would explorers need such a strong door? The door opened slowly, and everything changed. The air hit Orval like a physical force. Even through his suit, he could feel it. Hot, wet, heavy. His suit struggled to compensate. More warnings flashed on his display. By the stars, whispered Officer Drenna behind him. What is this? Orval checked his readings. The temperature inside the Brave Star was 30 degrees standard. That was 10 degrees higher than comfortable for Valani. The humidity was at 80%. Valani came from a dry world. This much moisture in the air felt like drowning Dot, but the worst thing was the gravity. Orval took one step into the ship and almost fell. His legs buckled under a weight he had never felt before. His bones seemed to bend. His muscles screamed in protest. He grabbed the wall to stop himself from collapsing. Gravity, he gasped. The gravity is. It is too strong. His suit calculated the exact number. 2.8 times standard gravity. nearly 3 times what the Volani were used to. Every step felt like carrying another person on his back. Every movement was a fight against an invisible force trying to push him to the ground. "Should we go back?" Phoenix asked. His voice was weak with fear. Orville wanted to say yes. Every part of his body wanted to turn around and run back to the safety of the wandering light. But he was a lieutenant of the Galactic Survey Corps. He had a duty. He had to learn about this species. He had to understand them. "No," he said firmly. "We continue. But move slowly. Conserve your energy." They walked deeper into the ship. Each step was painful. The corridor was wide and tall, made for beings bigger than Volani. The walls were gray metal, covered with pipes and cables. Not beautiful like Volani ships, but strong, practical. Orville noticed something on the walls. Pictures. Simple drawings in frames. They showed landscapes. Mountains with snow on top. Oceans under pink skies. Forests with green trees. And in some pictures, there were beings. Two-legged creatures with pale or dark skin. No tails. No extra arms. Just 2 arms and 2 legs and a single head with 2 eyes. "Is that them?" Drenna asked. "Is that what they look like?" "I think so," Orville replied. The beings in the pictures looked soft, weak. They had no claws, no sharp teeth, no protective scales. How could such fragile-looking creatures survive in these conditions? A sound made them stop. Footsteps. Heavy footsteps coming toward them. Orville raised his hand to signal his team to stay still. Around the corner came one of the beings. A male, based on the body shape. He was tall, taller than any Volani. His skin was light brown. His hair was black and short. He wore simple clothes, a gray shirt and dark pants. No environmental suit. No protection at all. The being smiled when he saw them. His mouth opened to show white teeth. Orville felt fear, but the expression seemed friendly. "Hello," the being said. His voice was deep and warm. "Welcome to the Brave Star. I am Taiho. I am the chief engineer. Please, follow me. Our captain wants to meet you." Taiho walked toward them with easy steps. He moved like the crushing gravity was nothing, like it was normal. Like breathing air that could poison most species was just ordinary. Orville tried to follow, but he was so slow. His legs could barely carry him. His breathing was hard. His suit worked at maximum power to keep him alive. Taiho noticed their struggle. His smile faded into concern. "Oh, I am sorry," he said. "The gravity. I forgot. Here, let me help." He reached out and took Orville's arm. His grip was strong but gentle. With one hand, Taiho supported Orville's weight and helped him walk. One hand, just one hand. How strong were these beings? They moved through the ship slowly. Taiho helped Orville while other crew members appeared to help the rest of the boarding team. A female named Minji supported Drenna. A large male named Woojin practically carried Phoenix. Every human they met was the same. Strong, relaxed, comfortable in conditions that were killing the Volani visitors. They smiled and laughed and spoke in their strange language. They seemed happy to have guests. The corridor opened into a larger room. A common area of some kind. There were chairs and tables. Screens showing data. And more humans. At least 15 of them. All watching the visitors with curious eyes. In the center stood a woman. She was shorter than the others, but carried herself with authority. Her hair was long and black, tied behind her head. Her eyes were sharp and intelligent. "I am Captain Sujin," she said. Her voice was calm and clear. "Welcome to my ship. Please, sit down. You look tired." Tired was a small word for what Orville felt. He was dying. The gravity, the heat, the humidity, everything was draining his life. He collapsed into a chair that was too big for him and tried to breathe. "Thank you," he managed to say. "Your ship, your conditions, they are difficult for us." Captain Sujin's face showed surprise. "Really? But we made the ship cooler for you. We also reduced the gravity a little, and we filtered some of the oxygen from the air. We thought it would make you comfortable." Orville felt his blood turn cold. Cooler? Reduced gravity? Filtered oxygen? This was the gentle version? What was normal for these humans? What is your normal environment? He asked. Sujin thought for a moment. On Earth, our home, the gravity is about 3.2 standard. Temperature varies, but we prefer around 35 degrees. And we breathe a mix of gases, mostly nitrogen and oxygen. About 21% oxygen. 21% oxygen. That was enough to make most species dizzy and sick. Combined with the gravity and temperature, Earth sounded like a death trap. Your planet, Orville said slowly. It sounds very dangerous. Sujin laughed softly. Earth? Dangerous? No, Earth is home. It can be rough sometimes. Storms, earthquakes, volcanoes. Predators that want to eat you. Diseases that want to kill you. But we grew up there. We are used to it. Orville looked at the humans around the room. They were all listening, all smiling. They spoke of earthquakes and predators like they were minor problems. Like surviving constant death was just a normal part of life. He finally understood. These humans were not weak. They looked soft, but they were hard inside. They came from a world that tried to kill them every day. And they won. They survived. They built ships and flew into space, carrying their deadly home with them. The Villani boarding team sat in that room, struggling to breathe, fighting to stay conscious. And the humans brought them water and food and worried about their comfort. They had no idea how terrifying they were. To them, this was just being polite. Orville made a decision. He needed to learn everything about these humans. Everything about their world. Because if Earth could create beings like this, the galaxy needed to know. The galaxy needed to be prepared. Tell me about Earth, he said quietly. Tell me everything. Captain Sujin smiled and sat down across from him. Where should I begin?